It is a very good day and a hearty welcome to this special program put in place to celebrate World Consumer Rights Day. My name is Valentine Mabugu. This year's theme is Fair Digital Finance. And today, I'm privileged to have a plethora of guests with me in the studio from different sectors who are going to be having a chat with us as we celebrate this very important day. Without much further ado, I'll allow my guests to introduce themselves. Who they are, where they're coming from, and a bit later we shall be talking about how they are celebrating this day as different institutions. I'll start with my guests on my right as they introduce themselves. Good day, sir, and welcome to the program.
Good day, Valentine. Good day, viewers. My name is Tulani Chitopo, an economist in the Ministry of Industry and Commerce.
Good day, Valentine. Good day to all our viewers, wherever you might be. My name is Mtogozi Sinkosi. I'm the chairperson of the Consumer Protection Commission.
Good day to you, Valentine, and to all the viewers. My name is Lloyd Gumbo, Public Relations Manager at the Insurance and Pensions Commission.
Good day, Valentine, and good day, viewers. My name is Hilda Mtsekwa. I'm the Director Economics at Potras, also responsible for consumer affairs.
Good day, Valentine, and good day, viewers. My name is Amon Chitra from the Central Bank of Zimbabwe, responsible for policy and research.
Good day, Valentine, and good day to our viewers. My name is Nancy Otori. I'm a Consumer Welfare and Advocacy Officer from the COMESA Competition Commission. Thank you.
Indeed, those are the guests that we have on the show today. And of course, without much further ado, let's look at what the Ministry of Industry and Commerce is doing in terms of the advocacy and protecting consumers in Zimbabwe. And I'm sure our representative from the ministry will give us more information as we also look into the theme this year that focuses on fair digital finance.
Thank you, Valentine. The Ministry of Industry and Commerce plays a very key role in terms of consumer welfare. And within this aspect, one of the key issues, particularly that came up as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, was the issue of digital finance. With the advent of the pandemic of COVID, we found that digital finance played a critical role, a very important role in terms of usage. It is within this respect that the ministry in 2019, in December, came up with a Consumer Protection Act. One of the key aspects of the act is to improve the marketplace, in terms of protection for consumers. And in this meeting, we've brought in our stakeholders who are key in the promotion of digital finance.
Right, before we move on to them, let's look at the other areas that you're focusing on as a ministry in terms of consumer rights and how they are being protected. We always talk about standards being maintained. Maybe if we can shed a bit more light into that as well and how critical and important it is.
Thank you very much. We have a Department of Quality Standards. That department plays a critical role in ensuring that our products meet global standards in terms of safety, in terms of health, and in terms of packaging. And that department also ensures that whatever we buy on the shelves meets the right quantities in terms of weights. I will appreciate that in some cases, manufacturers may put on the market products which do not meet the right quantities in terms of weights. And it is the role of this ministry to ensure that our products meet the right weights.
Quite interesting indeed. And of course, we've got other guests, and Zimbabwe does not operate as an island unto itself, but we've got different partners, and we're talking about governance issues, and Zimbabwe is a part of that in terms of Southern Africa and even beyond our borders. And we're privileged to have Nancy from COMESA. Nancy, maybe when you come in, maybe you can tell us what COMESA Competitions Commission is all about, what your mandate is, and what you focus on as we celebrate as well this day with the theme Fair Digital Finance and how it has played a role in the region.
Thank you very much, Valentine, for that question. The COMESA Competition Commission is a regional body. It brings together 21 member states. That is in the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa. The commission is established under Article 6 of the COMESA competition regulations. And the main mandate of the Commission is to promote competition in the common market, as well as promote the welfare of consumers. We promote the welfare of consumers by ensuring that conduct by market players does not cause harm to the consumers in the region. When I talk about a regional body and bringing together the member states, what the Commission does is try to promote information sharing. You realize that there may be conduct that is happening specifically in Zimbabwe, but like we are saying, Zimbabwe does not operate in an island. So you realize that this same conduct may be happening in Ethiopia, for example. It may be happening in Egypt, in Uganda. So being a regional body, we try to share information on what is happening among the member states. This actually causes discussions to start. So you realize that if Ethiopia was not aware of this particular conduct happening, once they get information that this is going on in Zimbabwe, then they are able to start looking at their market to see is the same thing happening. And that way they are able to protect consumers. If I can come back to the theme for this year's World Consumer Rights Day, that is fair digital finance. What the Commission has done is it has been able to come up with e-commerce guidelines which are going to apply in the whole COMESA region. And these guidelines give a guide on what market suppliers need to do. What do you ensure should be in place so that the service you're giving to consumers is actually not harmful to them. Secondly, we have also been able to work with service providers in the e-commerce industry, encouraging them to change some of the terms and conditions that they have had, which were actually not pro-consumer. You find that a service provider has terms and conditions which completely absolves them from any liability. So the consumer is on their own. If you engage or if you, for example, transact using an online platform and something happens, you're taken back to terms and conditions which tell you, sorry, I am not party to this, so you're on your own. So those are some of the things that the Commission has been able to do in line with this year's theme. Thank you very much.
Having said that, let me bring you to the conversation in terms of having an open market within the region itself and how we are faring in terms of opening our borders to each other. As a Commission, do you feel that there is enough commitment and enough is being done to realize this, where we can trade our goods with high standards of quality being maintained and consumers being protected as well?
Thank you, Val, for that. I think trade is happening. If you look at the statistics, there's quite a lot of intra-trade which is happening among the COMESA members themselves, and not just among the COMESA members themselves, but also with the neighbors of the region. So in terms of market being there and people, cross-border transactions happening, yes, it is there. In terms of consumer protection, we have a lot to do. There is a gap that needs to be filled, and I think it would be good to encourage member states to share information, talk to the neighbors, because your consumers are not only your consumers within your boundary. These consumers are also going to other countries as well. So I think by sharing information together, we are able to collectively protect our consumers. Thank you.
Indeed, and of course, we are talking about the Consumer Rights Day, and we shall be taking a short break. When we come back, we focus more intrinsically on the theme itself, which is fair digital finance, and we have to bring the central bank into the conversation. We take a short break. When we come back, we'll be continuing with the conversation right here on ZBC TV. Welcome back to this special program brought to you right here on ZBC TV in commemoration of Consumer Rights Day. And in the first segment, we're looking at issues of governance. What is Zimbabwe doing? What is the region doing? And enough about the politics. Let's go now intrinsically to issues to do with the theme that is fair digital finance, and we have to bring in the conversation to people from the central bank. What are they doing and what is involved? And with us to explain a bit further and in greater detail for us the laymen, and I'm sure you will try to be simplify the subject matter as possible. I'll ask you, Mr. Amon Chitra, what is digital finance to start with, as we link it with this year's theme of World Consumer Rights Day?
Thank you, Valentine. And the digital financial service is a catchword indeed. And I think let's just define it generically for the benefit of viewers at home. The digital financial service refers broadly to a range of financial services. These can be insurance, securities, whatever, and these are accessible through various electronic channels, which are, in terms, one question will come and say, what are these channels? This is the commonly known as the RTGS system, which is a real-time gross settlement system. We've got our mobile money, which is quite popular to most of us. I think we all use them. And we've got the card payment channel, which is generally accessed by debit cards, credit cards through the point of sale. I think we all are familiar with that. And we've got other payment channels that we normally use for cross-border. For example, the SWIFT channel, which is mainly for cross-border, is equally digital as well. And I think for better information and understanding of these products, you will then find that these are available 365 days and 24 hours for each day for everyone. So in short, what we are simply saying is that they bring convenience at home. But the other question that comes is, this is a very interesting area for the central bank, and it dovetails within our agenda in terms of financial stability, which is a key word where we actually, or key mandate that we have as a central bank. Our mandate is to make sure that we ensure financial stability and smooth payment systems. And the smooth payment systems actually also a very precondition for consumers in terms of trust, for them to consume financial services. So as central bank, we've embodied this on a daily basis as part of our supervisory and regulatory mandate to ensure consumer protection. In our supervision, as part of consumer conduct, it's embodied in our daily regulatory and supervision. And also when you look at issues relating to monitoring of transactions, it's part of our daily activities in terms of offsite analysis. So these inform the central bank in terms of policy formulation, in terms of supervisory mechanisms that should be put in place.
Financing Simplified 101. You can get the memo as well. And now moving on, let's bring in the commission in Zimbabwe itself that looks to protect the consumers and look at what is being done for the consumers in Zimbabwe and how, therefore, they can embrace the use of this service, that's digital finance service, which is quite critical. And, of course, the theme being fair digital financing. And I've got Dr. Mthokozisi Nkosi, who is the chairperson of the commission responsible for consumers in Zimbabwe.
Right. Thank you, Valentine. Yes, I think this year's theme is actually quite interesting. We want to promote, I would say, fairness in digital finance services. And I think as Mr. Chitra has actually, highlighted in a very simple term, digital financial services, whereby one is just tempted to say, as we transact, electronically, there are risks inherent in this. And the consumer generally is left exposed. So what is it that we're doing as a commission? We very much working with our sector regulators, as our consumers are actually transacting, because these risks are actually quite, disturbing, especially in the finance sector. What is it that we see from, I think, the banking side of things, telecom side of things in Zimbabwe? The issue that has been topical has been of failed, mobile transactions, and it's something that I think as a commission we're very much interested in actually having a feel of what the sector regulators are actually doing. Here I'm talking of the Reserve Bank, and I think if you look at their consumer protection, framework by the Reserve Bank, it's quite comprehensive, which the regulated entities, if they actually follow that to the dot, it goes a long way in actually ensuring that our consumers are actually protected. You also want to look at maybe POTRAs, what they're also doing. It's something, again, which is very good. But more importantly, from a commission perspective, our interest is really to ensure that all the players, in the economy are actually licensed. Why should they be licensed? We expect that we identify, capability, we identify the requirements, and obviously various aspects that are important to ensure that the players are actually up to speed. The players have got what it takes to run what they're doing, because under normal circumstances, you always see that if a transaction fails, like we know generally this fails, we want to say we don't want to have an incompetent player, being licensed to play ball, because that would then, compound the issues that are already, in place. We expect them to license them, to also ensure that security issues are actually addressed. We also expect them to license them so that they can track who is doing what and also monitor, their activities. Very important from a POTRAS perspective, from an IPEC perspective, from an RBZ, from all the various sectors, of the economy. Secondly, as a commission, we are equally interested in understanding that the activities of these players, in terms of, various sectors, they're actually, monitored. When I'm talking of monitoring, ensuring that every player adheres or complies to set standards. What is critical is to ensure that when you've got the regulator, which is the Reserve Bank, working with various players, I'm looking at technology players, we want to ensure that before a service is given a nod to say you can go, countrywide, that technology player is very much up to speed. They're actually competent, because in a number of times you actually ask the question. In fact, this is something that is happening even regionally, whereby technology seems to be, letting us down. The question becomes, is it the technology? Is it the human resources? What exactly is the problem? Where is the gap? And this is where, as a commission, we're very much, excited to see that the sector regulators, they play a critical role in ensuring that there's competence in whoever is driving this. It's also important that the various regulators, whatever it is that they have got, it's in tandem, with the Act. Secondly, there's been the issue of awareness, which maybe previously we have not really gone a gear up. But it's important to note that Consumer Council of Zimbabwe have actually done a very good, role in that particular area. IPEC, represented here by their PR manager, they're actually, doing extremely well. POTRAS, the same thing. But what we've actually done as the Commission is to trying to put in place its secretariat. We're actually working flat out with the various sector regulators to ensure that there's a lot in terms of awareness campaigns. Because now it's no longer moral suasion. It's no longer where we come and say, let's negotiate, your service is wrong. We now have an act. We now have teeth. And, players that are going to be found wanting, they're actually going to pay heavily.
Quite interesting indeed. A mouthful coming through from Dr. Mtokozo Sinkosi, right here on the program. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we look at the regulatory bodies themselves, how they are working to improve the welfare of the consumers and protecting them as well. This is a special program on World Consumer Rights Day. Stay tuned to ZBC TV. Welcome back to this special program right here on World Consumer Rights Day. We're celebrating this day under the theme Fair Digital Finance. And we continue the conversation. Earlier on, we did touch on digital finance services. And we had quite a plethora of ideas and situations that were presented by our presenters. But right now, let's go to how the welfare of the consumers can be improved as well as protected. And to look at issues of risk, we are going to have a chat with Mr. Lloyd Gumbo, who is the PR manager with the Insurance and Pensions Commission. Mr. Gumbo, let's get into the risks and benefits that are involved in the use of digital finance as well, because it's something that I think in the pandemic we got to embrace because we're not allowed to move, but digital services systems were in use.
Thank you very much, Valentine. I would say digital finance, it really, we look at the benefits first. It's a very important development worldwide because it has helped bridge the gap between those who are found in the towns and cities where there is infrastructure available to make it possible for people, for consumers to access finance products and services. But now with digital finance services, it's now easier even for someone who is in the outskirts, in the countryside, to be able to buy or transact finance products and services because of that. And as you may be aware, the National Development Strategy 1, it focuses on financial inclusion. It's a focus area for the government to ensure that everyone is financially included, irrespective of where they are, irrespective of who they are. So in this case, digital finance has made it possible for, like I said, for people throughout the country to be able to access finance products and services. And also the other benefit that comes with digital finance is that it makes finance products relatively cheaper because now there is no need for brick and mortar in the countryside or in some areas that were previously excluded. People are able to access the services on their mobile phones, on the internet and stuff. So I would say that's the other benefit. Then with respect to the risks that are associated with digital finance, one of the biggest risks that we note as financial sector regulators is that sometimes people transact, they sign up for policies without adequate information or sufficient information with respect to that particular product or service. So we would encourage consumers to ensure that when they are signing up for any policy, they should be able to understand the characteristics of that particular policy so that they know what they are signing up for. But in the event that someone has signed up for it, there is a provision in terms of the law, in terms of the Consumer Protection Act. If one looks at sections 52 and 53, they are quite expansive in terms of the rights that consumers have. They also touch on digital finance, which is electronic transactions. These are very important in terms of allowing the consumer of these digital products to be able to have that cool-off period or to request that the product that they have purchased be cancelled if they are not happy with the particular product. The other risk that is there as well is sometimes we have challenges with the platforms that consumers use in terms of transacting on the digital platforms. So transactions sometimes don't go through. And like has been alluded to earlier by Nancy from COMESA, the consumers sometimes are given the burden to say, you are the one who is responsible for that. The service providers, they want to move themselves away from responsibility or liability. But the Consumer Protection Act, which Dr. Nkosi made reference to, it provides for, it gives responsibility on the service provider as well to ensure that whatever service that they're offering to the consumer, it's a service that will, in the event that a transaction has not gone through, the consumer is protected, the service provider is equally liable. I think that's a layer that has been put in place to make sure that consumers are protected. And this, just as well, aligns very well with the theme Fair Digital Finance. Because, yes, we accept digital finance because it bridges the gap. We accept it because it helps consumers access products that they previously could not access. But at the same time, we have a responsibility to make sure consumers are protected from unscrupulous players in the financial services sector, the regulated entities. The expectations from the regulators is that the regulated entities offer products that meet the needs of the consumers, and they provide enough information about the products to the consumers that will help consumers make informed decisions.
Indeed, quite informative. I certainly hope you're finding this edition of the program informative, educative, and above all, entertaining. Let's now move on to the subject matter that has been brought in by all speakers. It has to do with the legal framework that is in existence in terms of service provision. We're all using these digital platforms, and the theme this year is Fair Digital Finance, using digital finance services. And it is good for us to bring in the regulator in terms of services that can be used and platforms that can be used by us as consumers. And it is therefore the time to bring in POTRAS, which is a regulatory authority in telecommunications. And we've got Hilda Mutsekwa with us in the studio, who is the director for economics with POTRAS. Hilda, let's look at the legal framework and how you are making sure that the fairness is there in terms of digital finance, and how people can fully utilize as well the digital finance systems and services in Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Valentine. I think you said it. Everyone around this table has said it, that digital finance rides on telecommunication networks. And our major mandate in the Postal and Telecommunications Act is to ensure the development of telecommunication networks all over Zimbabwe. And I think this resonates well with the theme, where our main role is to ensure universal access to telecommunication services. And on an inclusive and non-discriminatory basis. And when we talk of inclusivity, we are also we are not only looking at coverage, but we are also looking at service affordability. And that is one of our major activities at POTRAS, because we regulate all tariffs at both wholesale and retail levels. We also ensure that the services provided by our network operators are reliable and of high quality. And those who do not meet the quality of service targets, we penalize them. In terms of consumer protection, I think we are very active on that front, and I'm sure you've listened to some of our programs on the various radio stations. I think we are on all ZBC radio stations and also private radio stations. I think we are doing a lot in terms of consumer protection, and in tandem with this celebration, we are going to have a consumer education and awareness campaign in Masvingo in collaboration with the Consumer Council of Zimbabwe and our long-time and cherished co-regulator, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. So we are on it. We are also active in promoting innovation and competition, and this is critical for the development of applications, including digital finance apps. So we are very active through our innovation drive, and we are also supporting innovation hubs for the development of applications, including digital fintech applications. Also ensuring through the Data Protection Act, for which we are responsible, we are also in the process of activating that role for the safety of our consumers.
Indeed, quite interesting as we bring this show to an end. I know we would have loved to continue, but we have to give each other opportunities for other programs to come on air. And that leads me to thank my panelists for a very informative, educative and entertaining program. I certainly hope you found it to be that, as well as viewers. And we urge you to stand up, be heard, be educated, and know your rights as consumers. My name is Valentine Mabugo. Thank you very much for joining me. Happy World Consumer Rights Day. Till next time, happy viewing on ZBC TV.